Okay, so hi. This is my second video. So what I wanted main purpose of this is to discuss things that I don't think are accurate that I've heard people say and aren't accurate to do with Christianity. Anyway, basically things that people have complained about being hurt by God, and I'm like, why is that not Christian? And well, this is the thing. Scrolling through YouTube Shorts because I do that. Anyway, there's this thing on why someone lost their faith. I have no idea if they still have faith now. I don't know. Either way, the thing was, people who commit, well, the actual first thing was like they asked the question of like, how do people on the other side of the world know God? How do they do that? Like, how do they get saved? And the youth pastor apparently replied with, "Oh, you could hear the wind in the tree," which like it was a biblical verse. You hear wind in the trees, and that means they'll just know that Jesus Christ is Lord and repent. It's like that is both true and also completely and utterly false. It's true in the sense that yes, through the wind in the trees you'll know God. Doesn't mean you're gonna know Jesus Christ. Like you don't need to know Jesus Christ to be saved. What you need to know is God. And like a good example of this is actually the indigenous communities in Australia, like First Peoples. They actually a lot of their dreamtime stories, and stories of dreaming, actually have a lot of parallels with biblical stories and biblical messages and the like. I'll actually probably leave some links in the description of different Bible studies done on this by elders in those communities of like, this is a natural thing where it's like, oh, they had no way of knowing Jesus, like, as a thing or a being or God or Yahweh or whatever. Like, they did not have contact with us for thousands of years, like, and this was something that, but definitely as you go and compare things, and you're like, oh, there are similarities. Like, you very clearly have a core thing. It's like that idea of following Jesus isn't the end all and be all. It's following God. It's wanting, not even just following God, but wanting to have a relationship with God. Like, that's the important part. Like, in this lifetime, due to circumstances, you might not have the opportunity to get to know God and have a relationship with Him. But that's what's so amazing about Him, is that if you're wanting that relationship, if you want to spend eternity with the guy who created the universe, it's there for you. Like, that is an option. That is a thing that you can do. Like, you will see God for the wind in the trees, and it's like, because of the wind in the trees, because of nature, you look out there, and I'm sure a lot of people have wondered, how the hell did we get here? Like, even if you're agnostic, no, actually not agnostic, even if you're atheist, you have to think, oh my goodness, that's like a 1 in a billion trillion chance that this thing is like, you'd have to go, that's impressive, because it is. It's billion trillion chances that we here are alive now, here and now, that we are alive. Like, the odds of life existing even are astronomical, and then how beautiful and wonderful and vibrant the whole entire world is. Like, you have to just stand in awe. Like, I don't care if you're atheist or not, like, the chances are so minuscule. It's the reason a lot of physicists are like, oh, we're agnostic because we can't know. We physically can't know. No science will ever prove whether God or not exists. But oh my goodness, look at the world around you, and it is magnificent. You have to say that, like, wouldn't it be cool to know the one who did it all? And I do, and it's amazing. The guy who put the stars in the sky cares about me, loves me. It's just one of the best things in the world. And he loves you too. He loves everyone on earth and everywhere. He loves you so, so much. because you are worthy just because you are you. And that's a fantastic, amazing thing. It's like, you don't have to be anyone other than you. Of course, this doesn't excuse hating on people and being a horrible person in general. It's not that being that. That isn't what I'm talking about. Like, that's the opposite. Like, hating on people isn't what we're talking about here. Like, that isn't necessarily you. I'm saying that you as a person have wants and loves, and that's okay. You are you, and let's celebrate that. Don't put other people down. In fact, like, the whole point of this is because why would you put them down? Because they're just as much loved by God as you are. There is nothing you can do to gain God's love, and there's nothing you can do to ever lose it. You have it, and that's an eternal fact. That is true. Whether you choose to recognize it and wish to partner with Him back is your choice. So that's also kind of gets me onto the second part of the thing. It was like, oh, then someone asked a question about suicide. And it's like, oh, do people who commit suicide go into hell? And it's like, I heard that. I'm like, oh, shit. I don't know. I don't know. Mainly because my idea of hell is a bit different to the common perception of hell. Like, common perception of hell is, it's on fire! And then all the other one is like, oh, it's cold as ice. And then my perception is, it doesn't exist. Well, not in the way you're thinking. Like, oh, like, it's an internal torture. And it's like, yeah, but that sounds like you're alive. Like, to be tortured internally, you have to be alive. And hell is supposed to be the exact opposite of God, which is eternal life. And it sounds like you're alive there, meaning, eternal damnation is death. You're just dead. There is nothing. No, nothing. You cease to exist. Nothing. Nada. Gone. Poof. It's the exact opposite of eternal life. Life comes from God. God is life. Therefore, with the absence of God, life is non-existent. You do not exist. You cease to exist. Poof. Meaning, suicide's hard, y'all. Because the very thing of suicide is that you don't want to live. And our God's a loving God. He's not going to force you to live. If you choose that, meaning, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because of the circumstances, maybe you will get to go to heaven and it'll be fine, it'll be good. But I can't promise you that. I can't promise that's what's happening, because someone who's committed suicide has decided to give up on life. They've decided to give up on living, and it's a rejection of God, of the Most High. I can't say for sure or not. I don't know. Maybe in those moments you will regret, and you will understand why it's so bad, because here's the thing you weren't expecting. You have power. You have power. Everyone has power. It might not seem like it, and people might tell you you're powerless, but you're never powerless. Not completely. Not utterly. Sure, it might be small amounts of power, it might not be much, but you always have choices, and all that God asks you is to try and make the world a better place. Just leave it a little better off. Committing suicide doesn't help anyone. All it means is that it wasn't even that you just completely gave up, because like you can give up without killing yourself. It's that I don't know. The idea of actually physically taking your life is a bit foreign to me. I know what it's like to not want to live. I've certainly felt that. But the idea that there's nothing you can do to make your life better at all, That's rare. Because there's always something you can do to life better, and here's the other part of me knows that maybe the only way to make your life better could get you killed, but at least you're trying. At least you're trying. And here's the other thing you weren't expecting. If you're trying, then maybe it'll be easier for the next one down the line because you're not alone. Not just in the sense that there are other people wanting to support you, but there are probably other people going through your exact problems. And if you try, then maybe it'll be easier for them to try, and maybe eventually someone will be saved. I'm not saying you're going to make it out to this alive, because maybe you are in a dire situation and for some reason killing yourself is dignity because you do it yourself. And I'm like, no, don't give up. Never stop giving up. Fight, fight, fight. Don't let the doubters, don't let the world bring you down. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying just be happy. I understand that's impossible. Like, you can't just change your thing. But I'm also saying, don't give up just yet. Like, depression is a real thing. And maybe you can't afford medication or whatever, or help to do that. It's hard to get it these days, and sometimes it can be quite expensive. But what I ask you is that, hold on. Just keep holding on. Like, put on poppy music. Like, people were saying, like, oh, I have playlists for when I'm depressed and sad. I'm like, well, most of them are full with sad songs. Why the hell are you listening to those sad songs? Just make you more depressed. Listen to poppy, happy songs, and, like, I get it, it's like, oh, but I'm not in the mood. It's like, well, put on the song, and you're not in the mood, and sure, it won't be actual happiness, but maybe it'll make you crack a tiny, tiny smile. Like, a tiny smile. Maybe not even a smile, but it'll brighten your day just a bit so that maybe you're not completely and utterly sad the whole day. Like, all I'm asking is that you, like, maybe, like, 5 minutes, you were a tiny bit happy, or happier than you normally are, or, like, just not sad. Don't let yourself be sad is the best way of saying it. But actually also not. Like, let yourself be sad. Let yourself be sad. Emotional control, all that, good. But also, don't just accept that that's the way things have to be. Sure, there's medical conditions behind it, and I know there are medical conditions behind it, but because there are medical conditions behind it, guess what? You can get them fixed, and sure, the fixes are expensive, but people are working on that, and reach out to others and try and work on it for yourself. Maybe kind of tell others that you're not feeling good, and can you maybe just call me at this time and play, like, a really ridiculously annoying and happy song at me, like, or just set your alarm, like, even just like 12, and just have 10 minutes a day where you're listening to, like, 5 minutes a day where you're just listening to a happy song. Maybe that would be better, because it'll be better than the day before, and sometimes you'll go back, and sometimes you'll go forward, but one foot in front of the other. Like, keep trying, don't give up. Because in a way, that's what suicide is. It's not only that, it's more than giving up. It's, people say it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It's like, no, that's not true. One, the problem might not actually be temporary. It might be a permanent one. Well, at very least, a permanent one for your lifetime, regardless of whether you cut that short or not. It might, like, it physically might. Like, slavery is a thing that happened for a very long time, like centuries, and it was a terrible thing. You can't tell the people in the midst of that it's a temporary problem, because it's not. It's just not. Just what you can do is you can work on making it a temporary problem, or work on making the best of it, and just, like, being petty. Like, have you ever, I'm sorry, no one's in slavery, I don't know, maybe, and if they were, they probably wouldn't hear that, but, like, things are going wrong, be petty. Like, I get I'm a Christian, I'm supposed to be saying, love everyone, love your enemies, but guess what, loving your enemies can sometimes be really, really petty. Like, the killing with kindness is just, it's a trope that I love so much. It's where you're being a cinnamon roll and you're like so nice and everyone's like, they're hitting you down and you just basically hit them over the head with love. And it's like, I'm trying to bully you. And it's like, yes, so I made you cupcakes. And it's like, oh, but the thing, it's like, basically annoy them by being confident and going, I'm sorry, I love myself and I'm gonna love you too, even though you probably hate yourself. Because guess what? Most bullies hate themselves. It's a depressing fact, but it's true. And they're putting you down because they want to feel better about themselves. Guess what? They feel trash about themselves. So guess what? You compliment them and say, oh, thank you. And when they insult you, say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. I'll try and work on that. And be so honest and genuine. They're going to be fucking terrified because they're expecting you to cry and go, and you're like, I'll take it on board. And it's like, oh, or maybe it's like, oh, you're a nerd. It's like, yes, thank you, I am a nerd. It's like, oh yeah, that is, oh, I didn't know. It's like, oh, you're weird. It's like, thank you for noticing. Be confident, bitches, because you are amazing. You're glorious. You're perfect. Kind of. We're imperfect. But we're human. We're human, which means we're not perfect. And that's perfectly okay. Be happy. Be sad. Be yourself. Like, there's a quote I came up with, and some people have said that it's from someone else, but I'm like, no, I came up with it, and I wrote it down, and I have no idea, I haven't, maybe someone else did come up with it before me, but I definitely came up with it on my own, is, be yourself. It annoys people. Like, seriously, it really does. Like, there have been multiple times where people have gotten mad at me and stuff, because I've just been myself. And sure, it's a bit petty to just enjoy that, because, like, I'm gonna be kind and nice to them, but I'm also gonna take that little bit of joy whenever they're just, like, a bit annoyed, because I'm just gonna be kind. It's like, I'm turning the other cheek, and it's like, but why I am hurting you, and you say, cool, I am trying to hurt you, but you're like, yeah, they won't know what to do with you. And the reason some people say it doesn't work is because it's very hard to do, I will admit. It is very insanely hard to do, to act in kindness in the face of adversity. But if you do pull it off, if you manage to pull it off, it is the most rewarding thing ever. I'm just saying it will be hard, and it will be difficult, and maybe you might fail, and maybe you won't be able to do it, and it's easier just to give up and move and change schools and just run away from that bad situation. Because I'm not saying keep yourself in a bad situation just to be petty, like, I'm saying that if you don't have a choice about the situation you're in, like, yeah, it's good to get yourself away, but also, like, if you have no choice of where you are, maybe just be petty, and that's a way in which eventually maybe they'll be like, oh, we don't want to hold on to you anymore because you're freaking annoying and you're too kind. Why the hell are you kind? I'm trying to be. It's like, I don't know. This has gone very off topic, but also that's kind of the point. So yeah, if I ever find that nope, maybe it was originally TikTok, but it was definitely YouTube short. If I ever find that, I'll link that in description as well. But yeah, it's like, and also the indigenous stuff of why other cultures definitely know God existed, even if they weren't, like, might not know Jesus, but relationship with God more important. Creator of the universe, he's kind of cool. Get to know him and love yourself, and love your enemies. Love everyone, because loving is an action, not a feeling. And if everyone just loved everyone, like actually loved, like, I've talked to Christians about it, and some of them are like, yeah, but like, can they really? It's like, but no. Here's the thing: if even you don't have to be Christian to love someone, to love everyone, even you don't have to be Christian to do that. Technically, that's a technical fact. Like, you can love someone, except you can't. The problem is that it's actually really, really hard and almost impossible, and everyone fails at it, and it's only through Jesus Christ are we forgiven for that, but also have the power to keep going, because he's the reason I've kept going all these times. It's like, I can get back up again. He's the one who gives me strength and power to keep going and keep living and to keep moving forward because this world is broken. But maybe we can fix it together. And he's the only one that inspires me to keep going. Because, like, if everyone loved each other, this world would be an amazing place that would be so much better than it is now. But we don't. And it's a reality. Even people who call themselves Christians don't all the time. And honestly, the aim of this is to maybe change just a little part of that. Love each other. Bye!